told him to take his time paying me back. He never did. When my sister needed her college tuition cleared so she could graduate on time, I pulled from my savings and made it happen. Nobody asked how I was doing. Nobody wondered if I had enough left over for myself. I was 23 when I started playing this role. That was almost 10 years ago. Back then, I thought it was temporary. I thought maybe if I helped enough, proved myself enough, they would see me, really see me. But the years passed and nothing changed. I was still the backup plan, the emergency contact, the wallet they opened when theirs ran dry. My sister's different. Her name is Rachel. She is 28, 4 years younger than me, and she has always been the star of the family. When she walked into a room, Mom's face lit up. When she called, Dad dropped everything to listen. When she posted pictures online, they shared them with everyone they knew. I could count on one hand the number of times they had done that for me. I was not jealous, not really. I just wanted them to notice that I existed beyond the bills I paid and the problems I solved. But that never happened. At family dinners, Rachel sat at the head of the table. I sat near the kitchen. At holidays, her accomplishments were celebrated. Mine were mentioned in passing, if at all. When she got engaged last year, they threw her a party with 200 guests. When I bought my first condo 3 years ago, Dad said it was nice and changed the subject. Still, I kept helping. I kept showing up. I kept believing that maybe one day it would matter. 3 months ago, Dad turned 60. Mom started talking about throwing him a big celebration. She wanted something fancy, a venue with mood lighting and live music, catering from the Italian place he loved, a guest list that included relatives we had not seen in years, and co-workers he wanted to impress. She described it all in detail during Sunday dinner. Rachel nodded along, talking about how amazing it would be. Then Mom looked at me and said they were trying to figure out how to afford it. I did not hesitate. I told her I would handle it, all of it. The venue, the food, the drinks, the decorations, the musicians, everything. Mom blinked at me like she had not expected that. Then she smiled and said I was sweet. Dad patted my shoulder and said he appreciated it. Rachel said nothing. 2 weeks later, I wired the deposit, $10,600. It cleared my account in one transaction. I did not tell them the exact amount. I did not want them to feel guilty. I just wanted Dad to have a night he would never forget. I wanted to do something that showed I cared, that I was more than just the person who covered the gaps. I imagined the moment when he realized I had paid for everything. Maybe he would pull me aside and thank me privately. Maybe Mom would finally say she was proud of me. Maybe Rachel would see that I was capable of something big. I spent the next 2 months coordinating every detail. I confirmed the guest list, approved the menu, hired the band, arranged the floral centerpieces, and made sure the venue had the exact setup Mom wanted. The event planner knew my number by heart. I was the one who signed off on everything. The night before the party, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My chest felt tight with something I could not name. Excitement, maybe, or hope. I told myself tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow they would see me. The venue looked perfect. 70 guests filled the room, their voices blending with the soft jazz from the live band I had hired. Candlelight reflected off polished glassware. The smell of garlic bread and roasted salmon drifted from the kitchen. Everything was exactly as planned. I stood near the bar watching Dad greet people at the entrance. He wore a new suit. Rachel stood beside him in a red dress that caught everyone's attention. Mom floated through the crowd, hugging relatives and laughing louder than I had heard in months. I had been there for an hour, but nobody had approached me yet. A few cousins nodded in my direction. An uncle asked if I knew where the bathroom was. That was it. I told myself it was fine. The night was still young. The toast had not happened yet. That was when everything would make sense. Dinner was served at 7:30. The tables were arranged in a horseshoe shape around the room. The head table sat elevated on a small platform. That was where Dad, Mom, and Rachel were seated. I assumed I would be there too, but when I walked toward it, Mom waved me off. "Stephen, you are at table 4. I stopped. "Table 4? She smiled like it was obvious. "Yes, we need the head table for immediate family and the guests of honor." Rachel looked down at her phone. Dad was talking to someone and did not hear. I stood there for a moment, holding my suit jacket. Then I nodded and walked to table 4. It was near the back, tucked beside the entrance to the kitchen. I sat down next to a cousin I had not spoken to in 5 years. He did not recognize me. The food came. I barely tasted it. I kept glancing at the head table, watching them laugh and clink glasses. I kept waiting for someone to call me over, to thank me, to acknowledge what I had done, but nobody did. At 8:15, Mom stood up with a microphone. The room went quiet. She tapped the glass and smiled at the crowd. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight to celebrate my husband's 60th birthday. This man is the rock of our family. He has given us everything. And tonight we are surrounded by the people who love him most. Everyone clapped. Dad smiled and raised his glass. Mom continued, I also want to take a moment to recognize someone very special. Our daughter, Rachel. She has been the pride of this family since the day she was born. Everything she touches turns to gold. She is smart, beautiful, successful, and kind. We could not be more proud of the woman she has become. Rachel stood up and hugged Mom. The applause grew louder. I felt my hands go cold. Mom looked around the room, then her eyes landed on me. For 1 second, I thought she was going to mention me. I sat up straighter. And of course, we have Stephen here too. He is just background. He is always around, but Rachel, she is the one who makes us proud. The words landed like a punch. I could not breathe. A few people glanced at me. Most did not. They were still clapping for Rachel. Dad stood up next. He took the microphone and cleared his throat. Thank you all for coming. Tonight means a lot to me. Before we cut the cake, I just want to say one thing. Stephen, I appreciate you being here, but do not sit up front tonight. Those seats are reserved for the people who really matter. The room was silent for a beat. Then someone laughed nervously. The band started playing again. Conversations resumed. I sat there, frozen, staring at the head table. Rachel was smiling at her phone. Mom was hugging a guest. Dad was shaking hands. Nobody looked at me. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. I walked toward the bathroom, past tables full of people who did not notice me leave. Inside, I locked the stall door and pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking. I opened my email. I found the event planner's contact. I found the venue manager's number. I found the catering company's confirmation. I found the band's contract. I smiled. It was a strange smile. Cold, calm. I typed one sentence into each message. Cancel everything, effective immediately. Then I hit send. All of them, one after another. I stood there for a moment, staring at my reflection in the mirror. My face looked different. Older, maybe, or just tired. I walked out of the bathroom. I did not go back to table 4. I walked straight to the exit, past the head table, past my parents, past Rachel. Mom called my name. I did not stop. Where are you going? I turned around. The room was still buzzing. The band was still playing. The candles were still flickering. Then she can host this too. And I left. I sat in my car in the parking lot. My hands were still on the steering wheel, but I had not started the engine yet. Through the windshield, I could see the glow of the venue lights. The windows were tall and bright. Inside, 70 people were eating food I had paid for, drinking wine I had ordered, listening to music I had hired, and none of them knew. My phone buzzed. I ignored it. It buzzed again, then again. I turned it face down on the passenger seat and closed my eyes. The silence in the car felt heavier than the noise inside the venue. I could still hear Mom's voice in my head, just background. I replayed it over and over, the way she said it so casually, like it was a fact everyone already knew, like I had always been background and always would be. Dad's words came next. Do not sit up front tonight. Those seats are reserved for the people who really matter. I had not mattered. Not tonight. Not ever. I thought about all the times I had shown up, all the times I had wired money without being asked, all the times I had rearranged my life to help theirs stay comfortable. I thought about the electric bills and the car repairs and the tuition payments. I thought about the Sunday dinners where I sat quietly while Rachel talked about her promotions and her vacations and her engagement. I thought about the birthdays where my gift was forgotten and hers was displayed on the mantel. I had always told myself it was enough just to help, that love did not need recognition, that family meant sacrifice, But sitting there in the dark, I realized something. Sacrifice only works if the other person sees it. If they do not, you are not sacrificing. You are just disappearing. My phone buzzed again. This time I picked it up. The first message was from the event planner. It was a confirmation. All bookings canceled. Refund processing within 48 hours. Venue notified. The second message was from the catering company. Order pulled. Food service ending at 8:30. Staff dispatched to pack up. The third message was from the band. Contract voided, equipment being loaded, no performance after 9. I stared at the screen. My chest felt tight, but not with guilt. With something else. Relief maybe. Or clarity. I started the car and drove home. My apartment was quiet when I walked in. I dropped my keys on the counter and sat on the couch in the dark. I did not turn on the lights. I did not check my phone. I just sat there staring at the wall. Around 9:30, my phone started ringing. I let it ring. It stopped. Then it started again. I turned it off. I thought about what was happening at the venue right now. The lights going out, the staff packing up the tables, the band loading their instruments into vans, the guests standing around confused, asking what went wrong. Mom and Dad trying to explain something they did not understand. Rachel looking at her phone, probably texting someone about the disaster. And none of them knowing it was me. I did not feel proud. I did not feel victorious. I just felt empty. Like I had been carrying something heavy for 10 years and finally put it down. My arms ached from the weight of it, but they were free now. I went to bed around 11. I did not sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about what came next. Because this was not over. Not yet. I turned my phone back on the next morning. 63 missed calls, 47 text messages, 12 voicemails. I did not listen to any of them. I scrolled through the notifications, reading the names. Mom, Dad, Rachel, Rachel again, Mom again, an aunt I had not spoken to in 2 years, a cousin, another cousin, the event planner, the venue manager. I deleted them all. Then I opened my banking app and started going through my recurring payments. There were more than I expected. Some I had forgotten about. Some I had set up years ago and never thought about again. Mom and Dad's apartment rent, $1,200 a month. Auto pay enabled 3 years ago. Rachel's car insurance, $215 a month. Auto pay enabled 18 months ago. Dad's phone bill, $85 a month. Auto pay enabled 4 years ago. Mom's gym membership, $60 a month. Auto pay enabled 2 years ago. The family Netflix account, $20 a month. Auto pay enabled 5 years ago. Rachel's student loan payment, $350 a month. Auto pay enabled since she graduated. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open and a notepad beside me. I wrote down every single payment, every amount, every date. Then I opened my email and started drafting cancellation requests. The first one was to the apartment complex. I explained that I would no longer be covering the rent, effective immediately. I attached a copy of the lease showing my name was not on it. I asked them to contact the primary tenant for future payments. The second one was to the car insurance company. I removed Rachel from my policy. I provided her contact information and suggested they reach out to her directly for a new plan. The third one was to the phone provider. I canceled the line tied to Dad's number. I kept mine. I went through every payment one by one and ended them. Some required a phone call. Some required a form. Some required a written letter. I did not care. I did all of it. By noon, I had canceled everything. Then I opened a new tab and checked my bank account. The refund from the venue had already started processing. $10,600, minus a $300 cancellation fee. I stared at the number. It felt strange seeing it back in my account, like finding something I thought I had lost forever. My phone rang. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. I blocked the number. Rachel texted me. "What the hell happened last night? Everyone is asking questions. Call me." I deleted the message. Dad texted me an hour later. "We need to talk. This is not okay." I deleted that one too. Around 2 in the afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. Hi, is this Stephen? Yes. I received your email about discontinuing rent payments for Unit 12B. I just want to confirm you are aware this will result in a notice being sent to the tenants. The apartment complex manager. I am aware. She paused. Okay, just wanted to make sure. The notice will go out tomorrow. Thank you. She hung up. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. My chest felt lighter. My head felt clearer. For the first time in 10 years, I was not waiting for someone to call and ask for help. I was not planning my budget around their emergencies. I was not checking my account to see if I had enough to cover their bills and mine. I was just sitting in my apartment, alone, free, and it felt good. 3 days passed. I heard nothing. Then on the fourth day, Rachel showed up at my apartment. I was sitting on the couch when the buzzer rang. I checked the camera on my phone. She was standing outside, arms crossed, looking annoyed. I did not buzz her in. She rang again. Then she called me. I did not answer. She started banging on the door. I opened it. What is wrong with you? I leaned against the door frame. Hi, Rachel. She pushed past me into the apartment. Do you know what you did? Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? I closed the door. I have some idea. She spun around. The venue kicked everyone out. The food disappeared. The band packed up mid-song. Dad's co-workers were standing there with their phones out recording everything. It was a disaster. Sounds like it. She stared at me. That is all you have to say? I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. What do you want me to say? She followed me. I want you to explain why you did that. Why you ruined Dad's birthday. Why you embarrassed the entire family. I took a sip of water. I did not ruin anything. I just stopped paying for it. She laughed. It was a sharp, bitter sound. Oh, so this is about money? You are throwing a tantrum because you had to spend a little? I set the glass down. I spent $10,600, Rachel. That is not a little. Her face changed. Wait, you paid for that? I nodded. She blinked. I thought Mom and Dad paid. No, I did. All of it. The venue, the food, the band, the decorations, everything. She was quiet for a moment. Well, you should have told us. We would have split it. I laughed. It surprised both of us. No, you would not have. She frowned. Yes, we would have. I shook my head. Rachel, when was the last time you paid for anything that was not yours? When was the last time you offered to help with Mom and Dad's rent, or Dad's car, or your own student loans? Her jaw tightened. That is not fair. You are right, it is not. She crossed her arms. So what, you are punishing everyone because you feel underappreciated? That is pathetic, Stephen. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was wearing the coat I had bought her for Christmas 2 years ago. The bag over her shoulder was the one I had helped her pick out when she got her first job. The phone in her hand was on a plan I still paid for until 3 days ago. I am not punishing anyone. I am just done being invisible. She stared at me. What are you talking about? Mom called me background, Rachel, at a party I paid for. Dad told me not to sit up front because I did not matter enough. And you said nothing. You just smiled and took pictures and acted like I was not even there. She opened her mouth. Then she closed it. Her face flushed. So I left, and I canceled everything. Because if I am just background, then I do not need to be part of the show. She shook her head. You are being ridiculous. I walked to the door and opened it. You should go. She did not move. Mom and Dad are freaking out. The rent is due in 2 days. The landlord sent a notice. Then she can handle it. She is the pride of the family, right? Rachel stared at me. You are serious. Yes. She grabbed her bag and walked to the door. She stopped in front of me. You are going to regret this. Maybe, but not today. She left. I closed the door behind her and locked it. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about Rachel's face when she realized I had paid for everything. The way her voice changed when she asked about the rent. The way she left without apologizing. I got up around midnight and opened my laptop. I needed to organize everything. I needed to see it all laid out in front of me. Every payment, every transfer, every time I had covered something they should have handled themselves. I started with my bank statements. I went back 3 years. That was when the rent payment started. I downloaded every statement and saved them in a folder on my desktop. Then I opened a spreadsheet. Column 1 was the date. Column 2 was the amount. Column 3 was the recipient. Column 4 was the category. Rent, utilities, insurance, loans, subscriptions, emergency repairs. It took me 2 hours to go through everything. By the time I was done, the spreadsheet had over 200 entries. The total came to $73,400. I stared at the number. I had known it was a lot. I had known I was helping more than I should. But seeing it written out like that, seeing every single payment listed one after another, made it real in a way it had not been before. $73,000 over 3 years. That was almost $2,000 a month, on top of my own rent, my own bills, my own life. I saved the spreadsheet and opened my email. I had kept every confirmation, every receipt, every thank you text that said they would pay me back later. I had screenshots of conversations where they asked for help. I had voicemails where Dad said he was short and needed a loan. I had texts from Rachel asking if I could cover her car payment just this once. I created a new folder and moved everything into it. Then I exported the folder as a PDF, 312 pages. I titled it Financial Support Log 2022 to 2025. I sat back and looked at the file. It felt like holding a weapon I had not known I was building. Every time I had helped, I had thought I was being kind. I had thought I was being family. But I had also been documenting, saving, keeping track. Not because I planned to use it against them, but because some part of me knew I might need to prove it one day, and now I did. I opened a new email and attached the PDF. I addressed it to myself. I wrote in the subject line, backup, then I sent it. If they ever tried to say I was lying, if they ever tried to say I exaggerated or made it up, I had proof. Undeniable, documented, time-stamped. I closed the laptop and went to bed. This time I slept. The next morning I went to the bank. I asked to speak with someone about my account history. The representative was a woman in her 40s with a kind smile. How can I help you? I need printed copies of all my outgoing transfers for the past 3 years. She nodded and pulled up my account. She scrolled for a moment. Then she looked at me. That is a lot of transfers. Are you sure you need all of them? Yes. She printed them. It took 20 minutes. When she handed me the stack, it was thick enough to fill a folder. I thanked her and left. At home, I added the printed statements to the folder with the spreadsheet and the email confirmations. Then I put the folder in my closet on the top shelf behind a box of old textbooks. I did not know if I would ever need it, but I knew I had it, and that was enough. My phone rang. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. I did not listen to it. Rachel texted me again. We need to talk. This is serious. I deleted the message. Dad called. I declined. An hour later, I got a text from an unknown number. This is your father. Call me, now. I blocked the number. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall. My chest felt tight, but not with fear. With something else. Control, maybe. Or power. For the first time in my life, I was the one deciding what happened next, and they could not stop me. It was 5 days after the party when Mom finally called about the rent. I was at my desk working when my phone rang. I saw her name on the screen. I almost declined, but something made me answer. Hello. Her voice was tight, strained. Stephen, we need to talk. I leaned back in my chair. About what? She paused. I could hear her breathing. The rent. The landlord is threatening to evict us. He says you canceled the payment. I did. Silence. Why would you do that? Because it is not my rent, Mom. It is yours. She made a sound like she was trying to stay calm. Stephen, you know we cannot afford that on our own. We have been counting on you. For 3 years. Yes, and we appreciate it. But you cannot just stop without warning. That is not fair. I laughed. I could not help it. Fair? Yes, fair. We are a family. We help each other. Do we? Because I do not remember you helping me. She was quiet. That is not true. We have always been there for you. When? She stuttered. When you needed us. When you were younger. Name one time. She could not. I paid for Dad's birthday party, $10,000. I sat at table 4 while you told 70 people I was just background, and you did not even know I was the one who paid for it. Her voice cracked. We did not mean it like that. Yes, you did. She started crying. I heard it through the phone. Soft, broken sobs. Please, Stephen, we need help. Just this month. Just until we figure something out. Ask the one in the spotlight. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I put the phone down and stared at the screen. It lit up again. Mom calling back. I declined. She called again. I blocked her number. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a group chat notification. It was the family group chat, the one with Mom, Dad, Rachel, and me. I had muted it months ago. I opened it. Rachel had sent a message. Stephen, you need to stop this. Mom is crying. Dad is furious. You are tearing this family apart, I typed back. I did not tear it apart. I just stopped holding it together. Dad replied, You are being selfish. We raised you better than this. I stared at his message. Then I typed, You raised me to be invisible. I am just doing what you taught me. Rachel replied, This is insane. You are punishing us for one comment? Not one comment. 10 years of comments. 10 years of being ignored. 10 years of being used. Mom sent a voice message. I did not play it. Dad typed, If you do not help us with the rent, we will lose the apartment. Then move. Rachel responded quickly. Where are we supposed to go? That is not my problem. The chat went silent. For 5 minutes, nobody said anything. I thought maybe they had given up. Then Rachel sent a screenshot. Nobody said anything. I thought maybe they had given up. Then Rachel sent a screenshot. It was a text conversation between her and one of Dad's co-workers. The co-worker was asking what happened at the party. Rachel had replied that I had a mental breakdown and ruined everything. She sent another screenshot. This one was a Facebook post. It was Mom's account. She had written, Heartbroken tonight. Family is supposed to support each other, but sometimes people choose cruelty over love. I stared at the screen. They were trying to make me the villain. They were spinning the story so I looked unstable, unreasonable, wrong. I opened the folder on my laptop, the one with the spreadsheet and the receipts and the statements. I exported everything as a single PDF. Then I went back to the group chat. I attached the file. I typed, Here is every payment I have made for this family over the past 3 years. $73,400. Rent, insurance, loans, bills, emergencies, everything. If you want to keep saying I am selfish, go ahead, but at least be honest about who has been holding this family together. I hit send. The chat went silent. I watched the screen. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Rachel typed, This is manipulative. This is proof. Dad typed, We never asked you to do all of this. You did not have to ask. You just expected it. Mom sent another voice message. I deleted it without listening. Then I left the group chat. I deleted the app. I turned off my phone. I sat in my apartment, alone, in the silence. My chest was tight. My hands were still shaking. But I felt lighter, like I had been holding my breath for years and finally let it out. I did not know what they would do next. I did not know if they would apologize or double down or cut me off completely. But for the first time, I did not care, because I was done. 2 weeks passed. I did not hear from anyone. At first, I checked my phone compulsively. I refreshed my email. I looked at my blocked call log. I wondered if they would reach out, if they would apologize, if they would admit I had been right. But after a few days, I stopped checking. The silence became normal. Then it became comfortable. I found out later, through a mutual cousin, that they lost the apartment. The eviction notice went through. They moved in with Rachel temporarily. She was furious, according to the cousin. She blamed me for everything. Mom was staying with a friend. Dad was sleeping on Rachel's couch. The cousin asked me if I felt bad. I thought about it. Then I said no, because I did not. I had spent 10 years feeling bad, feeling guilty, feeling like I was not doing enough even when I was doing everything. And where had it gotten me? A seat at table 4, a label as background, a family that only saw me when they needed money. I was done feeling bad for choosing myself. A month after the party, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Dad, handwritten, 3 pages long. I sat at my kitchen table and read it. He said he was sorry. He said he had not realized how much I had been doing. He said he wished he had said thank you more often. He said he missed me. But he did not ask me to come back. He did not ask me to help again. He just said he was sorry. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I did not respond. Rachel called me once from a number I did not recognize. I answered by accident. "Stephen, what do you want?" "I just wanted to say that I get it now. I did not before, but I do now." "Okay. I am sorry. For what it is worth." "It is not worth much." She was quiet. "I know." I hung up. Mom never reached out, not directly. But the cousin told me she talked about me sometimes. She said I had changed. She said I was not the same person I used to be. The cousin asked me if that was true. I said, yes, because it was. I was not the same person. I was not the doormat anymore. I was not the emergency fund. I was not the invisible provider who showed up when things got hard and disappeared when they did not. I was just Stephen, 32 years old, living in my own apartment, paying my own bills, making my own choices. And for the first time in my life, I was okay with that. 3 months after the party, I moved. I found a new place across town. It was smaller than my old apartment, but it was mine. Nobody knew the address. Nobody had a key. Nobody could show up uninvited and demand my time or my money or my guilt. I started going to therapy. My therapist was a woman in her 50s who did not take anyone's side. She just listened. And when I told her what happened, she said something that stuck with me. You are allowed to protect yourself, even from family. I repeated those words to myself every night before bed. You are allowed to protect yourself, even from family. It felt true. It felt right. I did not know if I would ever talk to them again. I did not know if we would reconcile or stay estranged forever. I did not know if they would change or if I would forgive them. But I knew one thing for sure. I was done being background. I was done being the wallet they opened when theirs ran dry. I was done being invisible. I was Stephen, and I mattered. Not because someone finally said so, but because I decided it was true.